There's so many families in the Harry Potter series, and almost all of them are related in some way. They told us very early on that most pureblood families are related, but when looking closer, I realized it's not just pureblood families, it's almost every character in the series, which is wild. In this video, I'm going to break down the entire family tree in the Wizarding World, and we'll see how over 150 different characters are related.
This is completely mental.
Completely.
The world's mental.
Okay, so we're gonna start with the Slytherin and Peverell families. We have Salazar Slytherin, one of the 4 founders of Hogwarts, and the 3 Peverell brothers, Antioch, Cadmus, and Ignotus, the brothers that go along with the origin of the Deathly Hallows. We know for a fact that they are related because Cadmus got the Resurrection Stone, which would later be passed down and put in the Gaunt Ring. And that brings us back to Salazar Slytherin. From Slytherin, we have the Gaunt family, first Gormlaith Gaunt and her sister Rhiannon Gaunt. Rhiannon Gaunt attaches us to the Sayre family as she married William Sayre, and together they had Iseult Sayre, one of the founders of the American wizarding school Ilvermorny. Iseult would marry a muggle man named James Stewart, and together they would have 2 daughters, while also adopting 2 boys named Webster and Chadwick Boot. The Boot family being brought on also connects Terry Boot, a Ravenclaw student during Harry's time. Before Iseult got a family of her own though, her aunt Gormlaith Gaunt killed her parents Rhiannon and William Sayre, and ultimately Gormlaith would meet her untimely death as well. Iseult thought that was the end of the Gaunt family, but that was only the end of the American Gaunt family. There was actually one more overseas in England named Corvinus Gaunt, and he's the ancestor of Marvolo Gaunt. Marvolo had 2 kids, Merope and Morfinn Gaunt, and Merope would link this family tree to the muggle family known as the Riddles. She and Tom Riddle Sr. would have Tom Riddle Jr., aka Lord Voldemort. So far, we have 7 families connecting to one another. Slytherin, Peverell, Gaunt, Boot, Sayre, Stewart, and Riddle. Going back up to the 3 Peverell brothers, Ignotus is the ancestor of Eolanthe Peverell, who would go on to marry Hardwin Potter. Hardwin Potter's line would eventually lead to Henry Potter, who was the son of Mrs. Fleamont. On her deathbed, Mrs. Fleamont asked her son Henry to keep her maiden name alive, so when Henry had a son, he named him Fleamont Potter, combining his mother and father's last names. Fleamont Potter would eventually marry a woman named Euphemia, and together they would have a son named James Potter. James went on to marry Lily Evans, and together they had a son named Harry Potter. Lily also had a sister named Petunia, and she would go on to marry Vernon Dursley, and together they had a son named Dudley. So now this adds 4 families to the mix: the Potters, the Fleamonts, the Evans, and the Dursleys, meaning 11 families have all been connected. Before we go any further with this line though, let's start a new line with the Black family. It starts with 4 family members: Phoebe, Alexia, Eduarus, and Lycoris Black. Of the 4 of them, only one had children, and that was Lycoris. He married Magenta Tripe, and they had 3 kids together: Cygnus, Arcturus, and Misopinoa Black. Misopinoa married into the Bilswick family, adding yet another family into the mix. Meanwhile, Cygnus Black married a woman named Ella Max, and together they had 4 kids: Eldora, Isla, Phineas Nigellus, who you might know from his portrait in the headmaster's office, and Sirius Black I. Isla went on to marry into the Hitchens family as she married Bob Hitchens. However, only one of the 4 siblings had kids, and that was Phineas Nigellus Black. He married a woman named Ursula Flint, which connects the Flint family to this list, who you might remember was the Slytherin Quidditch captain Marcus Flint's last name. Together, Phineas Nigellus and Ursula had 5 children: Cygnus Black II, Phineas Black II, Sirius Black II, Arcturus Black II, and Belvina Black. Sirius Black went on to marry Hesper Gamp, and together they had 3 children: Lycoris, Regulus Black I, and Arcturus Black III. Arcturus III married a woman named Melania Macmillan, who connects Ernie Macmillan, another character during Harry's time. Arcturus III and Melania Macmillan had 2 kids, Orion and Lucretia. Orion Black married Walburga Black, so we have a little bit of incest going on, and together these cousins had a son named Sirius Black III, which yes, is the Sirius from the original series, and his brother Regulus Black II. Both of these brothers died prematurely though, so their line ends here, and we'll come back to Walburga in a second. Let's go up to Phineas Nigellus' kids. We went over Sirius Black II, so now let's move to his brother Arcturus Black II. He married Lysandra Yaxley, who eventually relates to Corbin Yaxley during Harry's time. Then Arcturus II and Sirius Black II's brother Cygnus Black II married a witch named Violetta Bulstrode, which connects all these families to Millicent Bulstrode, a small but semi-meaningful character in the original series.
I've already got mine. Millicent Bulstrode. Slytherin. I got this off her robes.
Cygnus Black II and Violetta Bulstrode had 4 kids: Marius, Cassiopeia, Pollux, and Doria. Doria married Charles Potter, matching all of these families with the families we went over in the beginning of the video. And they connect even more, but we'll get to that later. Going back to Cygnus II and Violetta's children, the only one of their 4 children to have kids was Pollux, and he married Irma Crabbe, which now links the Crabbe family to every other family. And we of course know the Crabbe family well, as Vincent Crabbe was one of Draco's friends, and his father with the same name was a prominent Death Eater. Irma Crabbe took Pollux's last name Black, and they had 3 kids, Cygnus Black III, Alphard Black, and their sister Walburga Black, who we already went over as she's the mother of Sirius and Regulus. Walburga's brother Cygnus Black III married Torella Rosier, and yes, that's how you pronounce it. Together they had 3 daughters, Narcissa, Andromeda, and Bellatrix Black. Before we go over the 3 Black sisters though, let's go back to their mother, Torella Rosier. This obviously connects the Rosier family to the rest of the families, and we of course know this family well, as Evan Rosier was a Death Eater in the original series, and in the Fantastic Beasts films, one of Grindelwald's loyal followers was Vinda Rosier. Going back to the 3 Black sisters, Narcissa Black married Lucius Malfoy, which adds another huge wizarding family into the mix, and is a family that has many prominent ancestors in Wizarding World history. I actually made a video on their own family tree if you want to check it out, it's linked down below. But anyway, together Lucius and Narcissa had a son named Draco Malfoy. Draco would later go on to marry Astoria Greengrass, and together they would have a son named Scorpius Malfoy. Meanwhile, Narcissa's sister Bellatrix Black went on to marry Rodolphus Lestrange, marrying her into the Lestrange family, which of course ties us to Leta Lestrange from the Crimes of Grindelwald. It's also worth mentioning the addition of Corvus Lestrange, Leta's brother, who drowned as a baby. The Lestrange's family tree is complicated because it only records the men, while it has the women be represented as flowers.
My father owned a very strange family tree. It only recorded the men. The women in my family were recorded as flowers. Beautiful. Separate.
Which means it's hard to follow this tree, so we're just gonna leave it at Leta and Corvus being part of the larger family. Narcissa and Bellatrix's sister Andromeda Black also married and had a child. She married a Muggle-born named Ted Tonks, much to her family's disapproval, and together they had a daughter named Nymphadora. Nymphadora later went on to marry a man named Remus Lupin, which now brings the Lupin family into the mix, and they had a son named Teddy Lupin. So added to the list of family relations on top of the 11 we already had, we now add 16 more. Black, Tripe, Bilshwick, Hitchens, Flint, Gamp, Macmillan, Yaxley, Bulstrode, Crabbe, Rosier, Malfoy, Greengrass, Lestrange, Tonks, and Lupin. Whew, that was a lot. So now that brings our total to 27 different families related. Now we're gonna head back up to Lysandra Yaxley, as she and Arcturus Black II had 3 children, Cedrella, Charis, and Calidora. Calidora married Harfan Longbottom, bringing another major family into the mix. Together they had 2 children named Algie and Augusta Longbottom, who was Neville Longbottom's grandmother and the person who raised him after his parents were attacked. Augusta of course gave birth to Neville's father Frank, and he and a woman named Alice had Neville. Then Neville eventually went on to marry Hannah Abbott, a Hufflepuff girl who was actually in their year at Hogwarts. Going back up to Arcturus II and Lysandra's kids, their daughter named Charis married a man named Caspar Crouch, adding another big name to the list, and together they had a boy named Barty Crouch Sr. Barty Sr. went on to father his son Barty Crouch Jr., but he killed his father and of course got the Dementor's kiss, meaning that was the end of their line. And the third daughter of Arcturus II and Lysandra was Cedrella Black, and she went on to marry Septimus Weasley, bringing the Weasley clan into the fold. The two had 3 sons, one of which was Arthur Weasley. Arthur went on to marry Molly Pruitt, bringing the Pruitt family into this. And working backwards from Molly, she had 2 brothers named Fabian and Gideon, both of whom died fighting for the Order of the Phoenix. We don't know their mother's name, but we do know her sister's name. Aunt Muriel was of course the aunt that was prominent at Bill and Fleur's wedding.
Honestly, my boy, are you sure you knew him at all?
Aunt Muriel's brother Ignatius also married Lucretia Black, just adding another connection between the Weasleys and the Blacks. There was also a mention of Ron's great aunt Tessie in the 4th film.
I look like my great aunt Tessie. Smell like my great aunt Tessie.
However, she was never mentioned in the books, but I thought I'd mention it anyway. So now, Longbottom, Abbott, Crouch, Weasley, and Pruitt are added to the list of connected families, bringing the total to 32 families. That's insane. Going back to Arthur and Molly Weasley, they had 7 kids: Bill, Charlie, Percy, Fred, George, Ron, and Ginny. Bill married Fleur Delacour, and together they had 3 children: Victoire, Dominique, and Louise. This marriage also connects other members of the Delacour family like Fleur's sister Gabrielle and their parents. George Weasley went on to marry Angelina Johnson, and they had 2 kids together, Fred, who was named after his deceased uncle, and Roxanne. Ron Weasley went on to marry Hermione Granger, and they had 2 kids together, Hugo and Rose. And finally, Ginny married Harry Potter, which is actually the second connection the Potters have to this tree. Together, Harry and Ginny had 3 kids, James, Albus, and Lily. So with that, it adds 3 more families, as we have the Delacours, the Johnsons, and the Grangers. So altogether, there are 35 different families in the Harry Potter series related. That is just absolutely wild.
That's completely mental. Isn't it?
There are a few important families that were not connected, like the Dumbledores, the Scamanders, and the Lovegoods, which I'll go over in a second. But first, let's look at some interesting things to point out. This means that the entire trio is related to Malfoy, Crabbe, and Goyle. Harry and Voldemort are related. Harry and Neville Longbottom are related, and 3 out of the 4 Marauders become related to each other, as James, Sirius, and Lupin are all connected in some way. Also, the Dursleys are technically related to almost every main character, including Voldemort, the Weasleys, the Malfoys, and even Sirius, which is funny when you think about Vernon seeing him on the Muggle news and complaining about his hair. Now, the families that weren't connected, a few of them are connected in their own right. For instance, the Goldstein sisters Tina and Queenie become related to the Scamander brothers Newt and Theseus because Newt and Tina get married and eventually have a grandson named Ralph Scamander. Ralph later goes on to marry a member of another major family as he married Luna Lovegood, and together they had 2 kids, Lorcan and Lysander. And with the Secrets of Dumbledore, major spoilers coming your way by the way, skip to whatever time is on the screen. Queenie of course adds to the family tree by marrying Jacob Kowalski, meaning almost all of the Fantastic Beasts cast is related. This also means that almost the entire cast is related to Luna Lovegood, Xenophilius Lovegood, and Luna's mother Pandora. And the Secrets of Dumbledore also expanded on the Dumbledore family tree. They're the one family that can't be connected to any other family. And again, spoiler alert, skip to whatever time is on the screen. We found out that Credence is actually the son of Aberforth, and his real name is Aurelius Dumbledore, giving Albus a nephew. All in all, it's pretty crazy how tightly knit each family in the wizarding world is. As I said, we were told pretty early on that almost every pureblood family is related in some way, but I don't think I realized how big of a scope that took on until I made this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. It was certainly fun to make. It took a lot of research, but it was so satisfying to see how all of this panned out. Shout out to Gandalf117 on Reddit by the way, he made the family tree that I used in this video. It's linked below if you want to check it out. Anyway, that's all I have for you guys today. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. You can follow me on Instagram to see more of my personal life like my cute dog Loki and some behind the scenes movie flame stuff. I also do similar content on TikTok and Twitter that I do here on this channel, so if you like what I do here, check them out. All the handles are right below me, and links are in the description. Over here are my wonderful patrons. If you want to be featured on the next video, plus get a few other perks, become a patron today. As always, if you liked the video, hit that like button and subscribe, and look out for more great Movie Flame videos on the way.